Okay, so moving on to the 2D shaders, we need to create materials for the 2D shaders. So I'm going to go to create, I'm going to go to new material, and then I'm going to double click on that new material. So the 2D shaders are under the texture drop down. When you go to texture, to surfaces, and they're all here. So there's checkerboard, cloud, cyclone, earth, fire, flame. There's a bunch that you can choose from, water, Venus. So I'm going to choose rust to start with, and it gives me this um, option here, and then there's a mix mode and there's a mix strength. You can pull this down to lessen the amount of rust, and then there's different modes and diffuse levels, things like, and then the roughness, you can increase or decrease that roughness value. So that's one, and there's also a brightness value. So that's not really looking too much like rust to me, but so if I'll close that and I'll apply it to one of these objects, I'll just apply it to this one. And then you have the mapping, so we can map it in different ways to get different effects, and then just render that and see what that looks like. So that's one of those materials, and you'd have to create more than one material to get all those different options. Obviously, I'm not going to use them all, but just go ahead and create another one. And I'll go to texture. Let's go to surface, and we'll try another one here. Marble. We saw marble before, and that marbling that we saw here has a lot of coloring. This one looks like it has some bump going on. So there's some options for this one. You can turn off the reflectance on that, and then apply that to one of these objects. Get a sense of what that looks like if we go ahead and render that. And that looks pretty cool. So depending on what you need, I'll just create another one, create another new material. I'm not naming these, I should be naming these. You can name materials here, or you can name them down here when you're done making them. But I'm going to go to, I noticed this one earlier, flame. And I'll apply that to another object. See what that looks like. No, it's pretty wild. So a couple of takeaways here. So you have a lot of options. Instead of building your own textures with your own imagery that you might find, you can use these default textures as a starting point, and you can make modifications to the textures themselves, and then that will affect how they render. So rather than doing a lot of digging and finding your own textures or producing your own textures, you can use these textures. So give these a try, and that's it.